What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to the DreamNation podcast. My name is Casanova. I'll be your host, and I'm excited to be bringing to you entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and trailblazers from around the world. Stay locked in with us because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life. Hey, DreamNation, this is Casanova. Today, I'm super excited to be bringing to you all the man, the myth, the legend in my eyes, which is Mr. David Meltzer. David, you want to go ahead and say what's up to DreamNation?
What's up, Dream Nation? I can't think of a better name for a show to be on because I believe the entire world, universe, and beyond the infinity is about dreaming, taking what we want, the possibility, getting inspired, making it our why, making it a probability, and then most importantly in this pragmatic world, taking the how and making it our perspective or our reality. But it never starts and it cannot go anywhere without a dream.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to get right into it and to be able to get so much knowledge that you continuously drop. But one thing I always like to start off and ask is before, becoming a top 100 business coach in the world, before the books, before, being one of the leaders in the sports marketing world, before all of that, if we could take it back to your childhood days, can you tell me who is Mr. David Meltzer?
For me, the earliest I can remember is 5 years old. And the significant thing that happened when I was 5 is my parents got divorced and my dad left. My dad was my hero. And, really struck me that I was now going to be responsible for everyone for some reason. And I decided I was really happy because I had an extraordinary mother and who told me how great I was and much, much more. But I decided at that time that I was going to be rich. And so I was driven by monetary gains, and I wanted to buy my mom a house and a car. It was that simple because I was happy, and the only time I wasn't happy was when my mom was crying because we couldn't afford food or the car broke down or summer camp. And so that's what really drove Dave Meltzer as a kid was, simply just being rich.
Got it. Now, so for you, was entrepreneurship always at the forefront of everything you did? How did you get into this world of starting businesses, or did it just kind of, stumble upon you one day?
Yeah, so, it's an evolution, not a revolution. I tell people all the time. And so, as I looked at what I was doing, since money was my means, money was my flow of happiness, everything that I did, whether it was to be a professional football player, a lawyer, a doctor, all the different things that I pursued, including the internet, including investor and real estate guy, developer, those are all entrepreneurials. I mean, I remember, guys in the hood in Akron, Ohio, giving me $5 to run a paper bag up to the Lawsons and me just wanting the money and never asking what was in the bag. I was, 6 years old and fast. I'm sure what's in the bag probably wasn't, I should have been carrying at 6 or 7 years old, but I wanted the money. And kind of moving from there, I sold encyclopedias when I was in college at night because I could get money. And then I sold tennis shoes when I was in law school, incoming sales at Roadrunner Sports from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. because I could make more money selling shoes than I could as a clerk at a law firm. And then I went to the law firm from 9 to 5 to get that experience, situational knowledge, and relationship capital. Entrepreneurship is a journey, right? It's the enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of that priority or potential or truth that we want to pursue. People have all types of different things that they want to pursue as entrepreneurs. The truth is, an entrepreneur is someone that focuses on acceleration and exponential growth in their life.
I love it. So you always were an entrepreneur. Tell me about how you got into the coaching side of things, because before you were an agent, but now every time that we see all of your stuff on social media, Instagram, Facebook, you're continuously coaching. Talk to me about how that came about, because a lot of people, especially in the new era age, they want to do some type of coaching, but they don't know if they should be going after their passion or if they should be helping. Talk to me about what led you into that path, and where do you think that people should be going after the passion or going after the profit of where they see a problem?
First of all, always go after the profit, right? When there's activity you get paid for and activity you don't get paid for. I want as much activity that I get paid for so the money can come through me for everyone else. And so I'm going to choose the things that has the most profit And then I'm going to find a way to love what I do, to be the best that I do. And I found through consistent, persistent pursuit of that thing, I become passionate about it automatically. And I give it its purpose, which is infuses that power of love into what I do, right? I don't believe you do what you love. I believe you learn to love what you do. So profit is extremely important. And I'll give you an example. I was on stage speaking, which is something that I get paid for to help educate other people. I always have believed in being of service and to be a mentor, but also to ask for help and to always have at least 3 mentors that sit in the situation that I wanted to be in. I've always, sought mentorship. And I got off stage and this kid came up to me and he said, "Hey, will you be my business coach?" I didn't really even know there were such things as business coaches. And so I said, "Look, to be honest, I'll be happy to help you mentor. I don't have a business coaching program. I don't really know if I can do that, but here's my cell phone. Give me a call. I'm happy to help you." So this kid keeps calling me. He goes, "No, man." He goes, "You be the best mentor in the world, the best business coach in the world. I have all these things. Could we just meet, once a week and you could help me with relationships and the situational knowledge you have and experience. You could be my mentor." And I said, "Look, I have to be honest. I'm happy to help you when you call, but I got this 520 rule. I don't got an hour every week for you. And if you were going to take that much of my time to get me out of the productivity and accessibility mode that I'm in, I'm extremely expensive." And he just kept pressing me. And I said, "Look, man, I'll tell you what, you get 3 of your friends and you 4 guys meet me at 7 a.m. every other Sunday on this picnic table in my neighborhood." Now, the reason I did that is I realized that on Sundays when I was home, that there was a hour time that I really felt there was nothing to do. And that was 7 to 8 a.m. And that's because I got all my stuff done on Sunday, wasn't as much work, meditation, worked out. I wake up at 4. And I had an hour there from 7 to 8 that my family wasn't awake. I'm like, you know what? I'll do this for charity. So you get 4 guys, all of you donate $100 a month to charity, and I'll coach you. Each of you get 15 minutes, but I want you to learn from the other guy's issues as well, so that you're getting 4 times the value out of the hour than just you asking. And I can handle in 15 minutes getting you the right introductions, giving you the right advice. Those 4 kids made over $1 million each in the first year.
Wow.
Some multi-millions of dollars.
I
And
love it.
and the word kind of started getting out that I kind of knew what I was talking about, that my system of coaching worked. I got this guy that was big in the coaching world, the MLM world, big in the click funnel world. And he's like, "Dave, I want to partner with you. I have this investment banker, 50-50. We'll finance this big coaching business for you." I said, "Terrific. As long as I just got to show up, I'm into making 7 figures doing this stuff to help people. This is exactly what I teach." So they started on their format. Those 2 guys broke up because they became so successful. And I purchased back the half of that and created my own system, my own coaching. And here I am, 5 years later in total, one of the top business coaches in the world. The key to my coaching is different than any other coach, though. Really, the key to my coaching is I do an assessment to find out how I can be productive and accessible, how I can provide value. And at the end of the month, I only work month to month with people, and I guarantee I mitigate all risk. Whether I charge $1,000 or $50,000 a month, which I have, I guarantee success, meaning I'm a profit center. So if you're investing $50,000 a month into me and I'm making you $100,000 a month and guaranteeing it, can you see any reason you won't want me to coach you? That's the real difference in what I do.
I love it. And so there's so much to unpack from there. But the first thing that I got was persistence. And this was something that I was told early on in my sales career. But someone had told me it was wise and successful that said, persistence respects persistence. Everyone who's successful now, they understood what it was like to start from the ground up. And that's kind of what I heard from you. Like this mentee of yours, he was persistent. And you say, "You know what? Listen, if you can get 3 of your other buddies, if you can go the extra mile, then I'm willing to go the extra mile for you." So I love the fact that you did that. And of course they became, multimillionaires just because they had someone else. Now, for someone that now that's early on in your career, and fortunately they caught you at a time where you didn't already have a program like that. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, and because you're speaking all over the world, do you think that, because people are all asking for mentorship, whether it's real estate, whether it's investing, whether it's just business in general, what do you give advice as far as to that person now? How do you see ways to add value?
Yeah, it's really simple, right? To understand adding value is to be of service, but most importantly, to understand the second question, which is, do you know anyone that can help me, right? The more you have, the more you can give. And I think people don't have a problem giving, they have a problem receiving. Most people carry an energy that they're not worthy of what they have currently, let alone worthy or limiting on what they could have. Most people can't even fathom what it would be like to make $1 billion. Meanwhile, guys like Jeff Bezos would be fired if they make $1 billion in a year. So
Mm.
what I try to teach people is the understanding of service, of flow, of the currency of faith, which is the aggregate of what you think, say, do, believe, even the unconscious competencies of your genetics, which are your DNA, right? The personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions that you have, as well as the more obsequious thing, which is your energy. I see so many people in the world that have thermostats. They have limitations. They don't even realize they have limitations. They wonder why their friend does all the wrong things, says all the wrong things, believes all the wrong things, but they have everything that they want. They have beautiful families, millions of dollars, and it seems so happy and successful. That's because they're carrying an energy. They're carrying an unconscious competency. There's a genetic disposition that's been carried down for maybe 4 generations or 4,000 lifetimes, depending on what your belief systems are. The irony of that is that if I can teach people through consistent, persistent behavior, if I can teach people through awareness to elevate and utilize a strategy of discipline to create habits, to ask for help, which is one of the greatest disciplines as well as strategies in the universe, is to get into the flow by connecting to others, being inspired by others and inspiring others. If you can do that, there's no doubt that I can break through the limitations that you have in the subconscious and the unconscious. I can break through the thermostat that you have where you always end up in the exact same place, no matter what you think, say, do, believe, or even the unconscious competencies. I can teach you to change your thermostat so that everything that you want is now available to you rapidly and accurately.
Wow. And so that was a truth. That was a message all in itself. But the one thing, and when we connected at Thrive, this was something that stood out to me. And you just said it again, that so many people have a problem with asking for help, right? And we all start off as solopreneurs, then we kind of graduate to entrepreneurs. But even still with that, we still have so many limitations and we have so many clamps on. How did you have that breakthrough of being able to ask other people for help without feeling like you weren't worthy enough to give something in return?
I didn't. I really didn't. So it's an evolution to learn that. One of the things that I realized was that I don't think people start as solopreneurs. I think we start as what I have deemed the multipreneur. And the multipreneur lives within a collective. They live within a group of people, whether it be their families, their communities, their churches, their temples, or even their colleges or universities, graduate schools, junior achievement, or football team, any of those types of group. That's where we learn to be, multipreneurs. We're trying in those systems in order to effectuate a flow, to be of service and play our part, as well as to get what we can. And we learn to give, we learn to take, we learn the dynamic of inspiration and aspiration within the context. And for me, I started my entrepreneurial within organizations that were entrepreneurial, right? I was a piece of it. I wasn't an entrepreneur. I didn't start out as a solopreneur. I sold encyclopedias for Britannica, a very big company. I sold shoes for Roadrunner Sports, a very big company. I sold Westlaw for West Publishing and then Thomson Reuters, a very big company. It wasn't until I was deep into my 20s that I raised $169 million, with other entrepreneurs to build a wireless proxy server company. And then later, being CEO of the world's first smartphone, I was considered an entrepreneur as well. And then, of course, as an investor and entrepreneur, I've built my career since I've been 32 years old, specifically as a true entrepreneur. But underneath me are a whole bunch of multipreneurs as well, from interns to employees to executives, all who are working with me under the context of learning how to be entrepreneurial, which means to be in the flow, which means to be of service and to ask for help.
Got it. I love it. Now, when you're first starting out these businesses, this is a question that I've always had. Like, I think the biggest breakthrough is people look at hiring, because we know that we all start off with the how. And so we're wondering how we can get something accomplished. But as we start to evolve, just like you said, at evolution, we start to figure out the who's, like, who can we hire? But then at the same time, we feel like they have so much value, and I don't know that I can necessarily afford that person. How early on, when you, even at 32, when you start to build these big companies, how were you able to get those other people on your team, or were you leveraging like banks to be able to pay them? What did that look like?
I think you're missing, yeah, the context in which it happens, right? I'm a what guy. You know, everybody talks about being the why guy. I'm a what guy. I don't think most people know what they want. I think if you know what you want, you can then determine pragmatically how to get it, and then you can infuse why, right?
Hmm.
The purpose and the passion can be infused. So if you start and clearly define what you want, then you can figure out how much it's going to cost to get, right? And then when you find out how much it's going to cost to get, mean resources, not necessarily money, but what resources you need in order to do that. What are the reasons I want to do it quantitatively, the impacts I'm going to have quantitatively, and the capabilities currently that I have or that I want or need, and what quantitatively am I going to need to get it. There's a million different ways to do that. Let me give you an example. One of the best and most successful companies in the world is Uber. Well, Uber never would have been successful but for they went to a lobbyist, someone who dealt in the political affairs of our government. And the founder of Uber approached a guy named Bradley Tusk. Bradley Tusk had run campaigns. He had worked within the political sphere as an influencer and a lobbyist. And the founder of Uber went up to Bradley and said, "Hey, can you help me? I got to figure out politically how to get the medallion situation with taxi cabs and get approvals for shared rides in the context of safety and regulations. Can you please help me?" Bradley Tusk was wise enough to say, "Look, I've never really done that before. I don't even know what I would charge you." And he said, "Well, it doesn't matter because I don't have any money."
Hmm.
He said, "Oh," he said, "but I'm willing to give you stock." And so there's other ways than money when you have a great idea and you have the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And that's why Tusk Ventures is one of the most successful venture companies that made millions and millions of dollars for taking stock in its its pre-status to become one of the owners of Uber. But nonetheless, he brought extraordinary value to the company. The company never would have launched but for his knowledge, his skills, and his desire.
I love it. I love it. One question that comes to my mind, because you've done so many different business ventures, and I'm always someone who thinks without great risk, you'll never get great reward. So can you talk to me about what's been one of your biggest risks that you've had to take up front, but it's been your best reward that you've gotten thus far in your career?
Buying a golf course.
Buying a golf course. Where'd you buy it
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, so I bought a golf course in Amherst, Virginia. I built it. It went up to be the eighth best golf course in the nation, over $112 million valuation. Uh, and the lessons that I learned from owning that golf course, besides the lesson of being the third owner of a golf course, never being the first owner of a golf course, but more importantly, the understanding of asking for help, because that was one of my biggest assets I've ever owned, and I lost it all, which then gave me the reality of the idea of money and understanding that money is only as valuable as what you shop for. And if you're not willing to ask for help, if you're not willing to raise your awareness, uh, I risked everything and I lost everything and got the most out of it because I learned what everything truly was and how easy it was to repeat the manifestation of money, how easy it is to attract money, but more importantly, doing it the right way, being of service and asking for help and allowing things not just to be for me, but through me for others. That's the best thing I've ever bought in my life.
Wow. What's the best business book or even business advice that you've ever gotten that was a little bit more unconventional to you in the beginning, at least?
Yeah. So the best business book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you truly read it and keep on reading it, every time you read it, you should make at least $1 million or more. The best piece of business advice that I've ever gotten is my best piece of life advice, because business and life are merged together, because I believe an activity you get paid for, an activity you don't get paid for. Why is it that playing second base for the Padres is a job for the guy who's playing second base, and he gets paid $2 million a year for it, where I pay $2 million a year if they let me play for the Padres. And if they're listening, I will guarantee that we will come in the same place that we came last year if you let me play second base. But moreover, those activities of making money and understanding how to do that really provides you the value of what you do, and has given me clarity, balance, and focus on everything that I do.
Wow, love it. Now, there's somebody out there that's listening right now that loves your story, that loves that you've built all of these businesses, but they still have that little voice in their head that's maybe telling them that they're not strong enough, they're not smart enough, they don't have enough resources to go out on a limb for their dream. What do you tell that person?
Number one, that voice still exists in my mind. I just go back to center. And two, it sounds like they have an enough problem. They're living in the wrong world of enough. There's three worlds of enough. One is not enough, and you must have listed out not enough 3 or 4 times. So I tell them to move. All right, move to a different world of enough. The second world is the world of just enough, where everything comes. People that live in the world of not enough, everything happens to them. They're victims. People that live in the world of just enough, they're optimists. Everything happens for me. Don't worry. This is going to be for my benefit. This is for me, for me. I say jump it up a notch to the world of Toptimists. My grandfather, he's the only one I know that was even more than a Toptimist. His name was Papa. I called him the Poptimist because he was so positive. But I live in the world of Toptimism. Toptimism says there's enough of everything for everyone. There's more than enough of everything for everyone. I live in a universe of more than enough. Therefore, I have complete confidence when those voices come about to say, nah, 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 I don't live there. I live in a world that everything comes through me for everyone else, that there's a universe of flow that has enough of everything for everyone. And that's where I'm going to go shopping. And that's what exists for me.
Wow. There you have it, Dream Nation. That right there in itself should be more than enough. Just like his papa would say, for you to go out there, you to crush it, and you could be able to live a life by your design. I want to be the first one to kick off the thank you train. I really appreciate your time. Let me ask, for anybody who still wants to connect with you even more, to follow more of your story, where can they find you at, Mr. Meltzer?
So remember the name David Meltzer, because all you got to do is go to @DavidMeltzer on Instagram, David Meltzer on LinkedIn, David Meltzer on YouTube. And my website is my first initial last name, D Meltzer. Go ahead and Google David Meltzer. I answer everything myself. I am of service. Remember the 5-20 rule. I always got 5 minutes for a phone call, 20 minutes for a meeting. I am of service. And remember the best piece of advice, which I didn't get to on that question, that I did get, which is be kind to your future self and do good deeds. It's that simple. It'll change the world.
There you have it. Well, until the next time, we'll have him on again. But remember, be kind to yourself and make sure you live out your dreams, because if you don't take action on it, a dream will only merely be a fantasy. We'll see you next time. That's the episode for today. Let me know if you got any value out of this, if you liked anything about it. Reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter, any of the social media networks, and of course, leave me a review, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you're hearing this at. I would love to have a review to show, what you're getting out of this. Is there anything that I could do better? Is there any way that I can add more value to you? So hopefully you all take some action today. That's my show. I love you all. Be great. But remember, we must take action.